Here is something that genuinely bothers me about this show. Every season, the residents of Fromville get smarter. Every season, they get closer. And every single time, the town finds a crack, widens it, and watches everything collapse from the inside. So, I completely understand why people have stopped believing they can actually get out. But here is the thing. Episode 8 of Season 4 is different in a way that I do not think a lot of people are fully clocking yet. Not because the residents are suddenly more powerful. Not because the man in yellow made some kind of mistake. But because the variables that the town has always relied on to reset this cycle are starting to behave in ways the system does not seem built to handle. So today, we're not talking about why Fromville always wins. We're making the case for why this time it might not. We're going to go through 4 areas. The tools on the table right now, the collaboration that has actually formed, the specific threats that are trying to dismantle both of those things, and the wildcard elements that the town may genuinely not have a script for. And at the end, we're going to ask the question that the whole season is building toward. Can knowledge actually override 5 centuries of human beings destroying each other under pressure? Let's get into it. Start here. Not with feelings, with inventory. What do the residents of Fromville actually have access to right now that we can verify going into these final episodes of Season 4? First, Tabitha. She left the town. That matters more than people give it credit for. She physically exited Fromville, ended up in Camden, Maine, came back with Henry Kavanaugh, and returned carrying Miranda's memories. Whatever mechanism the town uses to keep people trapped, Tabitha broke through it. She came back voluntarily, which is its own kind of weird, but the point is she survived the ejection. She is here now, with first-hand knowledge of the connection between the Kavanaugh family and this place. That is not nothing. Previous cycles did not have that. Second, Julie. She can storywalk. She moved through the town's own history. She visited 1978. She stood in a room with a man in yellow mid-feast. She watched Jim die and could not stop it. And right now, she has decided she is done using that ability. Randall told her the next seizure could kill her, and she backed off. That is going to become important later, so hold that thought. Third, Jade. He remembered his past lives. He saw himself as a child inside the sacrifice chamber. He saw the bones. He retained information across cycles that his previous versions carried and eventually lost, which means something in the structure of this cycle allowed retention that did not happen before. And his mushroom trip was not just a hallucination. The door in Colony House was exactly where he said it would be. That is verifiable, physical evidence that what he accessed was real. Fourth, Fatima. And this one is genuinely strange. She did not ask for a connection to Smiley. The town used her body as a vessel to create that creature, which was supposed to be a weapon against the residents. But what the town actually created was a two-way channel. Fatima can see through Smiley's eyes. More than that, she stopped Smiley mid-attack on Kenny. She screamed, and the creature froze long enough for Kenny to survive. Her vitals in Episode 8 are medically absurd. Blood pressure of 53/33. Heart rate of 19 beats per minute. She should not be functional, but she is. The connection is real, and it is costing her something biological. That trade-off is going to come to a head. Fifth, Boyd. The worms from Martin are gone. But something Boyd did when he commanded Donna to live, and then commanded the town to show him the door, still seems to be operating. He is starting to have visions in Episode 8. Gunshots nobody else hears. Everyone he cares about dead in the forest. His subconscious is showing him the cost of the plan his conscious mind is still building. That is not a random symptom. The town is communicating with him in the same way it communicates with everyone it is trying to neutralize. The question is whether Boyd recognizes it for what it is before it does what it did to Abby. Sixth, and most immediately, the door. Someone sealed it in a previous cycle. Boyd broke through it. The path to the sacrifice chamber exists and is accessible from inside Colony House right now. That is the inventory. That is more simultaneous firepower than we have seen any version of this group hold at one time. Tools do not matter if nobody is talking to each other. And talking to each other is exactly what Fromville has historically been very good at preventing. Think about the pattern. Sarah heard voices and kept them a secret. That secrecy is what made her dangerous. If she had told Boyd on day one what she was hearing, the community could have responded to it together. Instead, she carried it alone, and the isolation turned her into a weapon. Christopher found the symbol, became obsessed, and withdrew from everyone around him. He stopped communicating. The obsession hollowed him out in private, and by the time anyone noticed, it was already past the point of intervention. Abby started fracturing while Boyd was out in the forest. She was alone with her thoughts, alone with the pressure, alone with whatever idea was growing in her head that none of it was real. Boyd came back to a wife he had to kill. The pattern is consistent, and it is not subtle. The town isolates people psychologically before it destroys them. It specifically targets the person carrying the most dangerous knowledge and ensures that person is also the person talking to the fewest people. Now look at what episodes 7 and 8 have set up. Boyd called a town meeting. He stood in front of Colony House and told everyone about the reincarnation theory, the Bowen connection, and the plan. Jade backed him up publicly. Tabitha told Julie and Ethan directly. Victor told Ethan about the previous cycle. Kenny, Ellis, and Boyd planned the totem test as a group. Donna pushed back on the plan from her bed, which is what a functioning community actually looks like. Disagreement within a shared framework is not fracture. It is the opposite of fracture. The information is not siloed. Multiple people hold overlapping pieces. Jade knows the tunnels. Victor knows the man in yellow's history going back to before most of the current residents were born. Tabitha carries Miranda's memories. Kenny has first-hand experience with how the creatures coordinate at night. Fatima has a live connection to one of those creatures. Julie has story walking. Boyd has the conviction that ties all of it into a coherent plan. From what Victor has described, previous cycles fractured before they ever reached this stage. The town turned people against each other before the knowledge could accumulate into something actionable. It is doing the exact same thing right now through Sophia. She planted the idea that everything got worse when Jade and Tabitha arrived. She has been sitting in every meeting, watching every plan take shape, reporting back in real time. She is running a playbook that has worked in every cycle Victor remembers. The question is whether the collaboration holds long enough to matter. Here is where this gets uncomfortable. Young Jade told present Jade something very specific. In every cycle, the town turns on Jade and Tabitha. The residents blame them. They kill them. That is how it has ended before. Sophia is engineering exactly that outcome right now. She told Julie and Kenny back in episode 3 that the bad thing started when Jade and Tabitha arrived. She's been watching every meeting and every conversation. She either fed the totem plan directly to the creatures, or the creatures were already anticipating it. Either way, the plan failed publicly. Kenny nearly died. Everyone saw it happen. Now Boyd wants to take people into the tunnels based on a mushroom vision Jade had that if people go into those tunnels and die, the town is going to need someone to blame. And Jade is standing exactly where the pattern says the scapegoat always stands. Henry is already vocal against the plan. In episode 8, he told Jade directly that you cannot save dead things no matter how smart you think you are. He tried briefly to pull himself together. He asked for work, tried to keep his hands busy, but then the jukebox played Miranda's song, and he walked into the woods alone, and the vision pulled him back in. And this time the vision did not just show him a hospital room. It gave him a mission: eliminate the thing anchoring him to the town. That is a kill order dressed up as clarity. Henry is being loaded the same way Abby was loaded. Sophia poisoned him with her blood and with the idea that none of this is real, that he just needs to wake up. The show is drawing a deliberate parallel between what happened to Abby and what is happening to Henry right now, and the show is not being subtle about it. It wants you to see it coming. Be why the end of episode 8. Henry has a target that asks, oh, let us be precise about the situation. The tools are real. The collaboration is real. And the mechanism that has dismantled both of those things in every previous cycle is also real and already running. The cycle breaks if the people hold together through the failure. If the tunnel plan produces nothing, if the bones are there but removing them changes nothing, or if people die on the way down, the test is whether the town turns on Jade or whether the group absorbs the loss and keeps working. Every previous cycle, the answer has been the same. They turn. The collaboration collapses. The scapegoat dies. The cycle resets. This cycle has more tools and more shared knowledge than any previous cycle we can verify. Whether that is enough to override 5 centuries of human beings turning on each other under pressure is the entire question the rest of this season has to answer. If the cycle depends on the same pattern repeating, then the cycle breaks when someone does something the pattern does not have a response to. Here is the uncomfortable part. Most of what is currently in motion fits the script Fromville has been running since 1506, that a leader who goes into the tunnels. That is Boyd, a visionary who pushes a dangerous plan. That is Jade, the town fracturing along trust lines when the plan fails. That is Henry and Sophia's arc. Everything currently visible fits the template. So what would the town not expect? There are 3 candidates. The first is Jade's bottle tree insight. In episode 8, he had a genuine breakthrough. The root symbol that has haunted him since season 1, the one he's been carving and staring at and dreaming about, is not a map to the tunnels. It is the bottle tree's roots seen from below. The bottle tree sits directly above the sacrifice chamber. Two teams. One enters through the tunnels. One digs up the tree from above. Open access from two directions simultaneously. But here is what makes that dangerous beyond the obvious tactical risk. Victor told us in Season 3 that when the Angui children lay on the stones, they poured their hope into the roots, and then the roots became the faraway tree. The bottle tree is not just a tree. It contains the original, genuine hope of those children, not the manufactured despair harvest that the town runs as its standard operation. Real hope. And if you rip it out, you might open the exit. But you might also destroy the only cache of that genuine hope that exists anywhere in Fromville. The man in yellow showed up in person in the RV to address this plan. He lured Tabitha there. He acknowledged it could set the children free, and he also said it could lead to suffering they cannot imagine. Now, everything the man in yellow says is calculated. He has been running psychological operations in this town for centuries. Taking his word at face value is exactly how characters in this show get destroyed. But the fact that he showed up personally to address it at all is significant. He does not usually engage directly with plans he is not worried about. The second wild card is Fatima's connection. The town built Smiley from Fatima's body. That was supposed to be a weapon against the residents. What it accidentally created was a two-way channel. Fatima can see through Smiley's eyes. She stopped his attack. The town may have introduced a vulnerability into its own defense system by using Fatima as the vessel, and that vulnerability was a byproduct. It was not deliberate. The pattern might not have a script for it, because the pattern did not plan it. The third wild card is Julie refusing to play her role. Previous versions of Julie, if they existed across cycles, presumably kept trying to storywalk until the ability killed them or burned them out. Julie stopped. She told Sarah she cannot do it. She is sitting out. If the town script requires Julie to storywalk at a critical moment and fail, and Julie just refuses to show up for that scene at all, the system may not have a response ready. The residents of Fromville have more verified knowledge right now than we have seen in any cycle we can actually trace. They know about the reincarnation structure. They know the man in yellow has been running this operation for centuries. They know the tunnels connect to the sacrifice chamber. They know the creatures have patterns and routines. They know Fatima has a live connection to Smiley. They know the totems work on some creatures, but not all. They know the talismans have limits. They know Julie can storywalk. They know the boy in white has been trying to help, whatever his actual motivations turn out to be. The town knows they know. Sophia has been in every room. She watched the totem plan get built, and she watched it fail. She's watching the tunnel plan take shape in real time. Whatever advantage the residents think they have, an adjustment is already in progress. Sophia is embedded inside all of that. She is in the meetings. She was in Boyd's room going through his belongings. She is watching the whole thing build in real time, and she is actively working to introduce the crack that collapses it. Henry is the most likely crack. He has a target now. He has been systematically isolated from the people who could ground him. He is being walked toward a specific action the same way Abby was walked toward hers. Something is going to give before this season ends. Either the collaboration holds and the cycle breaks, or the town finds that crack, widens it, and the 5-century pattern reasserts itself exactly the way it always has done. I want to leave you with the thing that actually matters here. The show is not asking whether the residents can outsmart Fromville. It is asking whether they can stay together when everything falls apart. Every previous cycle did not fail because people were not smart enough. It failed because the pressure got bad enough that people stopped trusting each other. The intelligence was there. The tools were there. And then someone got isolated, someone got blamed, and the whole structure came down. The collaboration standing right now is the most advanced version of it we have ever seen in this show. It is also the version that the man in yellow is working hardest to destroy. Stay together when it gets the worst it has ever been that we're about to find out. If you're following the Season 4 Breakdown series, subscribe and drop a comment with what you think breaks first. The collaboration or the town. I want to know where you land on it.